What's up, guys? Today we have a couple of updates on the garage and what's happening with the bikes that we have currently, bikes that are out the door, bikes that are in the door. Just wanted to give you guys kind of an update because I haven't been posting content and I owe you guys some content. So, first things first, bikes out the door. I got an old road bike that's, I think is a Massey that's going out the door. I don't have any content on that, but it's headed out the door because I don't ride it anymore. Second, the Hyper E-Ride mid-drive City, I believe it was. That is out the door. I've ended up giving that to a friend. I rode it like 800 and some odd miles, maybe 850 miles, and ended up deciding that I needed to make room for some new bikes that I purchased. As you can see behind me, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so that bike was great. The only issue that I had with the bike the whole time was I needed to change out the seat because the seat on it was very firm. But other than that, I loved it. That bike was really great for my lower back. It helped me work out. I have issues with my lower back. It helped me work out kinks whenever I did have kinks in my lower back. I would often get on it. It was, very upright, so I was able to get in a very comfortable seating position, go on a ride, and end up working through the issues that I had in my lower back. It really helped me out a lot. It didn't correct the issues every time, but oftentimes it ended up allowing things to loosen up, and that was just a overall positive thing for me, just having that bike around. But because the garage is growing a bit, and it is a bit in flux, I ended up having to get bikes out so that I can bring bikes in. So with all that said, we've got some new bikes, and as you can see right here, I've got this Yamaha bike that we're about to do an unboxing on. And I do have a couple of other bikes that are on the way. So this bike specifically is the Yamaha Wabash RT. And that's, I believe, it's like I would call what I would call a gravel bike. It's an electric gravel bike. Yamaha had like a crazy sale on this and the Crosscore RC. And I think this was like 1,600 bucks, and the Crosscore RC was like $1,100. They come with an extra battery. Like, you couldn't beat that deal. Okay, these bikes on Eco they have been quoted by a couple of YouTube channels to go 120 miles on one battery. So imagine if you're getting one battery, 120 miles, two batteries, that's 200 up to 240 miles on one bike. Two batteries, one bike, $1,100 and $1,600. That's a crazy good deal, especially for the components that are on this bike. I know there have been tons of people posting this all over Slick Deals and whatnot, and so you probably already know about it. But if you don't and you're interested, go to Yamaha's website, check these out. Keep in mind that the prices won't reflect until you put it in cart. When you put it in cart, then you'll see the discounted price. This is only temporary. It's not going to be there forever. As soon as I assume as soon as they sell out, that price will no longer be the case, and then they're going to go back up. My belief is that the reason they're selling off all of these is just because they have backstock, and in addition to the backstock, I think that they might have newer bikes coming out. Yamaha might, or it might be that they see on the market these TQ motors and things of that nature that are coming out that are basically eclipsing all of the older motor technology, and they're having to change the game. And I think they're just trying to get rid of the old technology bikes. Not that they're bad, but they're trying to get rid of them before the new technology comes out, and then nobody's going to buy the old tech for the same price that they would buy the new tech. So they're basically having a fire sale on these machines. But with all of that said, without further ado, we're going to do the unboxing on this bike. I ended up ordering this bike. You cannot order it to your house. I had to get it ordered to a Yamaha dealership that's not really local, about 45 minutes away, but I appreciate them. I can't remember what the dealership's name is. Let me look. Maxim Honda of Allen, Texas. So they did me well. They ended up allowing Yamaha to order the bikes to their shop. They offer a $150 fee on putting the bikes together. I elected to build the bike myself so I could do the unboxing. But if that's more your style, then order the bike there, have them put it together for $150. And in the event that you need further maintenance, they have informed me that they do also do maintenance on the bike. So if those are questions that you have related to Yamaha, there are Yamaha dealers that will work on these bikes in the event that you need someone to do so, right? And I'm assuming with all of the bicycle components, if you go to a cool shop, they'll work on the bike components. They're just not going to work on the Yamaha specific components, right? If they don't carry Yamaha or Giant or Specialized, what have you, you can't go to a shop that doesn't carry that brand and expect them to work on the brand specific stuff. They might work on the brakes, they might work on the derailleur, they might work on, the chain, the brake, things of that nature, things that are pretty much normal across all bikes, but they're not going to work on the motor components, the electronics, and all of those things. With all that said, let's get into this and pull this bike out of the box. All right, so just to give you an idea of what it looks like, that's how it looks inside the box. All right. Sorry for the shaky camera. Okay, it looks like it's packaged well. There's an extra box here in front. I don't know if that's for packaging or if there's important stuff in there, but that's probably why the bike box. No, it's big. It's way bigger than the typical bike box. And keep that in mind. If you're gonna do like I did, order it for the dealership and then bring it home. Here it is, out of the box. Oh, right. Go on this side. Sweet. Check it out. Okay, dudes. It looks pretty good. I would say that it's on par or just as good as any packaging that I've found to date. You also get a little owner's manual here. And then let's see if there's anything to the box. Oh, this is the box I was talking about sitting in front of it. I would say it's packaged really, really well. And just looking at it so far, this motor looks pretty and like pretty small compared to my Giant motor. So in the box you got a seat. I think this is the charger. Yep. So we've got charger. Wow, this is a pretty robust charger. That's pretty big. It's a lot bigger than most chargers that I have. I mean, it's not huge, but it's bigger. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Little cool box. Maybe we get some stickers or something. That would be sweet. I don't think so. Whatever happens getting stickers for the products, dudes? I like to put them on my car. Cool. Okay. All right. Pedals. I did notice this at the shop that I went to. These pedals are kind of thin. So I don't know if I have a typical pedal, but like I would expect this to have like another inch on it to be like a normal pedal. It's a bell. Pretty sweet little bell. Reflectors. So reflectors. What this is? Looks like a cable of some sort. Some kind of mounting equipment. I don't really know what that is. Just some kind of mounting equipment. And then a skewer. Okay, so I guess it is boost. This is, I don't know if that's boost or not, but it looks, it's bulkier than just the regular old through axle that you get on most bikes. So manual, and then a little additional manual, I guess, on how to do things. So anyway, let me get all of this stuff off of here and then I'll start the video back up on putting the thing together. All right, now that we got things adjusted, I'm gonna start taking off all this packaging. I would say overall, it's good packaging. I don't have any problems with anything so far. I don't see anything that would be concerning. I believe this is the front wheel. Pretty nice. It's got a Maxxis Rambler 700 by 45C, 35 to 60 PSI, Silk Shield TR. So I guess TR means tubeless ready. So, woohoo! I don't know if it's tubeless compatible. The wheel, I'm assuming if they're going to put tubeless tires on it, then it's probably a tubeless compatible wheel. It's probably not set up for that right now. I'd be willing to bet that there's a tube in there. Yeah, just looking in there, there's a tube in there. Okay. Let's keep going. So the shop was really cool about it. They did say that, they could, they could put it together for $150, but they didn't tell me that it was like impossible to put together or anything. So I basically decided at that point that I could do it myself. I typically put a lot of this together by myself anyways. One thing that's interesting right now is that this was outside of the tube, and I'm thinking I need to feed this line back down into there. So I'm gonna leave that laying right there. And okay, interesting thing here. If you're looking for your keys, they are attached to the seat stay, which is interesting. I think it's called seat stay. I don't know. They're attached right here. The seat clamp, seat post clamp. 3 keys. That's cool. It's more keys than I probably need, but if I lose 2 of them, I'll still have another. So that's cool. Wabash during shipping, which makes sense because original price for these is like crazy money. So it makes sense to why they would package them really, 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 really well. Okay, so I got to figure out which of these cables is the dropper post cable because I'm assuming I need to feed it in there. I don't know. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause the video and figure out what I need to do about this dropper post to get it to feed in. And then I will start it again. All right, we're back. So this is the dropper right here. This little cable right here, you just follow it in. I found that I can pull on that and pull this bad boy in. That. And start to pull this little guy into place. All right, there we go. So that's the first thing. You just follow this dropper wire, come down here, and then pull it, and then you'll be able to get that to the point where you can put in the dropper post, which was hanging out. All right, what else do we need to do? First things first, we're gonna have to back this back this headset or these these stem bolts off because you got the fork facing frontwards and these bars are facing to the left. So, and the bars are also upside down. So we're going to take some Allen keys and we're going to turn the stem forward. We're going to flip these bars the right way up. And then we'll go from there. So if you don't have some Allen keys, you're definitely going to need them, it looks like. At least, the set that you might have for a bicycle. I don't know if you need like a full-on set to do, other things with it. But I have this little ratchet set. Okay. So the stem is 4 millimeter. So we're going to take that, back those off. Okay, not too tight. Could easily back that off with a regular Allen key. All right, so then we're going to turn those bars. I don't know if we can do that. Oh, no, we can't do that. Okay. So before we turn the bar, we loosened off the stem. We've also got to loosen off the handlebars, because what's happened right now is this handlebar is actually stuck on the top tube. And so because of that, I'm not able to turn the bars. So I'm going to back that off where we can loosen up just enough to be able to adjust these bars, hold them up like that, and then, oh shoot. Okay, so one thing you can do to prevent yourself from having scratches on the bottom of your fork, just put one of these little pieces of plastic there while you're doing this. Turn that to the forward, okay, so forward facing, all right? It may not be perfect right away, but it's good enough for now. Actually, I need a different piece of plastic. Piece of styrofoam. This will do. Just keep in mind when you put that on there, it could be a little less stable, but it's a lot better than scratching the bottom of your forks. So, all right, so now that we've done that, we've turned our headset towards the front. Our forks are facing forwards. Our headset is facing forwards. We're going to turn the bike like this, get it as straight as we can, and I'm going to back the handlebar clamp off a little bit more so that I can turn this without really having to put effort into it. It doesn't have to be so loose that the handlebars just go everywhere, but enough that you can spin them without scratching the bars. Okay. So that might not be perfect, but I'm going to leave it like that for now and tighten it back up. I am using a ratchet here. It might be a little overkill, but it's easier for me to just use this than it is to go find some Allen keys. I'm going to tighten this ever so slightly, not all the way down. In reality, I'm going to end up backing this off and testing different bar heights, adjusting this up and down as we go. I can already tell you that right now, this fork, or excuse me, this stem is mounted in a more aggressive stance, so it's pointed down. You can also flip it and it points up. I'm probably going to end up pointing it up. I'm going to ride the bike first to see how I like it. But if you point it up, that's going to be a lot easier on your back, but it's going to give you worse aerodynamics. You point it down, it's better aerodynamics, but it's going to be a little bit more harsh on your back. So anyway, all that said, we've got the handlebar facing forward, we've got the stem facing forward, we've got the forks facing forward. Now we're going to adjust the computer. So this is the computer right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like a little mouth where it kind of hangs down right here behind the handlebar. And as a result of that, right now, you wouldn't be able to see it if you were on the bicycle sitting. So I'm going to back that off. And then we're going to adjust that down. It was really easy to do, so I would say use an Allen key for this one, just to tighten it up. I don't want to over tighten. I mean, it seems like a pretty resilient clamp, but just in case. And I'm gonna leave it like that for now, but I might end up wanting to tilt it down a little bit more. Basically, right now it's kind of level. I may end up wanting to tilt it like this so that I can see it while I'm on the bike like this. But we'll discern whether or not that's the case once we get the bike all the way together. But essentially you just loosen it off, tighten it up, and it's good to go. All right, so we've got that together. Next thing would be the seats. And typically, guys, you're gonna want to, if you can, put this bike on the charger while you're doing all of this. If you can, if you're close enough to a socket or something like that, or if you want to have an extension cord, that way you can charge the battery to the bike all the way up, and it can be charging while you're putting it together. I'm probably gonna ride the bike before I charge it all the way up, so whatever. Okay, so just looking at it now, it looks like this seat is all the way down, or the seat clamps are all the way down. I don't know that I can get to this with my regular set of Allen keys, or with my Allen key sockets. So I can already tell you right now, this is moving around inside the seat tube. So I'm going to tighten down the seat clamp a little bit, finger tight, so that this doesn't move, so that I can back these off. I'm going to try with my hand, see if I can back them off. I can't. So I'm going to use this wrench, but you probably could use your typical Allen key to be able to do this. And just so you know, this is a 5mm. Go ahead and back this off. There is some Loctite on these two bolts right here. So it's probably not going to back off as easily as you would think, right? So like it's going to back off pretty easily in the beginning, and then as soon as I hit that Loctite, it's probably going to get more and more difficult, kind of like a lock washer. Or excuse me, not a lock washer, but a lock. In the right place. Okay. One thing I will say that I've noticed here is that typically there is like a ridge. Typically right here, there are ridges on the bottom of this, so that whenever you adjust this, it kind of locks in place. But as of right now, this is completely smooth. So I don't know if I love that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And this is the top piece. And so put that there. It's here. And so yeah, so this is what I was talking about, where you have right here. So you put this little thing, put this little apparatus. Okay, you put this in here, and then this is going to go into it like that, right? But you're also going to have that other piece that's going to be on the bottom of this, and it's going to get a bit of like a fulcrum, I think is what it's called. So anyway, I wanted to show you that just so you have an idea of all those little pieces. All right, we're back. I literally just grabbed the seat and all of these parts just came apart. So anyway, I guess that's good for the video because I can show you what I was talking about where I wasn't so close. So you take this piece first. I don't know if there's a front or back or forward or backwards. But we're going to put it like just like so. Put that on there. And then you're going to take your seat and place it on like so. Okay. And then you're going to take this piece right here. You're going to put this little bad boy in there. From what I could tell, I think the 8, where it shows that 8 millimeters, or whatever that's called, I think that goes to the back. I think I remember seeing that in the back. Anyway, so let's go for attempt number 2. Attempt number 2. I'm trying to put this seat on. And you just got to be ever so slight with the seat because it is just wanting to fall off real easy like. So we're going to take this piece, put it on top, sandwich it in there, and then we'll take that first bolt. Okay, we're going to take that first bolt, push it through, kind of try to keep our finger on that nut, original nut, or that little circular nut. Oh, this is so fun, guys. This is so fun right now. Nose up on your seat. So I'm gonna back this front off a little bit and see if it's even possible to go nose up on this. Because I'm not seeing it. I'm actually thinking that we're about to get to the fullest extent of what we can do. That's very close to full on, right? And keep in mind, when you're looking at this, you're thinking, oh, that's level, right? But now I'm gonna lift the bike up. You see that? Now that's nose up. So keep that in mind whenever you're adjusting this, whenever you're putting this seat together, because if it looks level now while the bike doesn't have the front wheel on, then it's probably way nose up. So I need to back off this bolt and go more nose down. We're getting even relatively close to the fit I want. Okay. So I'm going to back off this seat post again. And then I'm going to try to raise up the seat to, like, I don't know. Let's go right there. I think that might be ideal position for me. And one thing to keep in mind is I haven't tried it yet, but apparently this seat is like suspension, right? So not only is it a dropper post where like you can push this dropper and it goes down and back up, it's also a suspension seat. So apparently it's supposed to be more comfortable in that way. Anyway, so now we've got the seat mounted. We've got the seat post in, we've got it tightened down, we've got it adjusted to right about what we believe the height's going to be. We've got our front, the front of the bike figured out. We've got our steer tube headed straight towards the front. We have our stem headed straight towards the front. We have our bars in a relatively decent location, but not all the way tightened down. Like we would use them like on a typical ride. I will probably take the road bike that I am getting rid of. I will probably take the clip-ins that I have and put them on this bike. This is more of a clip-in bike. One thing to keep in mind, it's got a left and a right. It's going to have an L here or R here. Something that I see with this, that I see on cheaper pedals. I'm not saying these pedals are cheap, but on cheaper pedals, they don't have the Allen key here. They are mounted with a wrench. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Typically what I end up doing is, or the way I remember this, whenever I put these pedals on, is I remember towards the front of the bike is on and towards the back of the bike is off. So I think if that is correct, I should be able to turn this, yep, toward the front of the bike. Sorry, you can't see that. Let me point this down a little bit. Okay. Okay. And now we're gonna go to the other side, and we're gonna take the right pedal, and we're going to twist it towards the front of the bike. That should, make sure you hold the bike whenever you're doing this. If you don't, the bike could lean and fall the other way, one way or the other. I know by this point, making all these videos, I should have a bike rack to be able to perform maintenance on it. I don't yet. I've spent all my money on bikes, as you can see. So that might be the next thing that I do. One thing that I'm noticing right now, I think this derailleur has a clutch on it. I think it has a clutch, which is super sweet because that means that this chain's not gonna bounce around up and down like it would on these cheaper bikes that I've been riding that don't have clutches on the derailleurs. So that's a cool situation. I was talking about it earlier, and I didn't tell you what it is. It is a Shimano GRX shift setup, right? Yeah. And then on the brakes, we've got, I think they're Shimano as well. They're GRX. So cool. All right. So now we got our pedals on. Definitely make sure, I haven't done it yet, but you're going to want to go behind yourself and tighten these with a wrench. I haven't done that yet. Let me go figure out what size that is. Yeah, 15 millimeter. Yet again, like I said before, you're going to take this wrench, tighten it up towards the front of the bike on each side. May end up having to put yourself in a position where you can hold the bike and the brake in the event the bike tries to move around. So I've got it tightened up. I'm not tightening it up all the way. One thing that you can do that a lot of bike shops do whenever they put these pedals on is they grease the threads. I didn't grease the threads on this. It's highly likely, like I said, I'm going to change these out and put the clip-in pedals. So I'm not going to grease this up. I'll probably grease that up, and then if I put these pedals in that other bike, I might grease it up. But if not, then I'm just going to keep these pedals somewhere else. Now we got the bell. It's a Phillips. I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it right here on this. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't know. It makes sense to put it right here. Just to let you guys know, this thing is like super unstable right now. So make sure that you're holding the bike. And a lot of that reason is probably because I've got the bike on the styrofoam in the front, but I'm not going to take it off. So again, the bell is not like one of the most important things, but you definitely want to tighten it down enough that it isn't moving. Once you get your bars and everything set up to the position that you want, you can adjust your bell again. Okay. I'm gonna have to look into the documentation as to what the heck these things are. They seem important. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna leave them off for now. Maybe read up the documentation. I've also got the reflectors. So let's check out these reflectors. Probably won't put them on the bike. I don't know. I'm kind of getting to the age now to where it's yeah, that's kind of funny. The I actually think reflectors offer value and that people can see at night. Okay, so these are the reflectors. Come with these two little mounts right here. One is interesting. One is, I think, clearly for the back seat tooth. Um, and then you got this one nut or this longer nut to be able to go into that. I'm not going to put those on. Um, let's open up this battery charger. It is Model X1V-00 from Yamaha Motors Company Ltd. Input 100 volts to 240 volts, 1.9 amp hours, 190 watts. Output 42 volts at 4 amp hours. It doesn't, maybe it does on their website say like how quickly the batteries charge up, but I didn't catch it in the documentation, so we'll see. Anyway, let's put this front tire on and then be done. Okay, so the front tire comes right here, and you got this like boost type situation. So you're going to make sure that you take out this red little piece right here out of the brake, between the brake fuse pads, and you're going to make sure that you put the brake rotor side in the proper side. Lift the bike up. Start to put this in position, and oh man, this bike is not heavy, but it's not light. So, okay, we got it in, but it's not lined up. So, we got to line it up to make sure that it starts into the other side. If it doesn't start right, then it won't ever seat. So, I'm not really sure what's happening right now with it. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So whenever you're tightening this up, don't try to tighten it with the little lever. Tighten it with I don't know, whatever that lever is sitting in. It's kind of like a little tray. That's how you tighten it up. So I'm tightening that up, and then I guess it locks down like that. That is not tight enough for me. I don't know how tight this should be, but I will say it doesn't feel tight enough. So I'm gonna look into that and back up all the way off. Tighten that as far as we can. And maybe it feels tight. It's not overly tight, but it is tight. Okay. Anyways, dudes, now we're gonna cut this off of the back. Finally, so the bike can move around a little bit. Okay. I'm going to set this over here. So we're going to get our bike pump and we're going to start filling up the tires with air. It is a set of Presto valves, I believe, so you're not going to be able to use. If you have if it's your first bike and you have a regular bike pump or a regular pump that has Schrader or Schroeder valves, you're going to have one that has a Presto fitment or just a Presto pump in general. All right, we're back. So what that means is I don't know if you can see it. There are two valves here, or two airlets opening. This is the one for Schroeder valves or Schrader valves. This is for Presta valves. Okay. So that being said, we're going to back off the Schrader valve, or excuse me, this Presta valve cover. Put on the Presta valve adapter, or um, okay. So we got 40 psi in all of our tires. We've got the pipe all set up. I haven't charged it yet. Let's see if it turns on. Okay. I don't know if there's anything you have to do in order for you to get power. It doesn't look like the bike has any kind of juice. So I think this is where I would, no, that's the lock. Maybe this is where I would charge it. Okay, yeah. So this is where we would charge it. I guess let's take it. Let's take this charger and see what we could do. Here's me saying I'm gonna ride it without charging it, and now I can't even ride it because it's not charged. Sweet. Which is kind of surprising to me because a lot of these bikes, typically whenever they're in storage, I think they charge them all the way up, and then like, or maybe to 80%, and then that's when they put them in storage. It's not good on batteries to have them stored and depleted. So it does weigh a significant amount, a noticeable amount, I guess I would say. It's not like crazy, but it's not light either. Cool. So we have the light on right now. I'm assuming, I don't know what green means. Charging? I don't know. Let's see if I can turn on the bike while I have it charging. Okay, cool. So the display did power on. So now, if you could see it, sorry for the shaky camera. The display is on. It's showing that there's some in the battery, but I'm going to let it charge. And then we'll go try it later. Anyway, this is the unboxing, building, garage update for the Yamaha Wabash RT. Appreciate you guys watching. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more content on this bike or other bikes that I have in the garage, consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching.